Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Here is the sixth part of this DIY farmhouse buffalo check mason jar. And again, we're going to use the pint-sized mason jar from Kerr with the regular lid. And we're going to use this French lilac from Rust-Oleum. As you can see, it is a lot darker than it looks. We're also going to use some homemade white chalk paint, as well as some apple barrel navy paint, and we're going to use some true red. I just happened to have this 100 years ago. I got this and I had it, so I just used it. But any red, true red will work as long as it's sort of a true red. So we're just going to spray paint the jar. I've run lots of tutorials on spray painting in on my channel before. You want to make sure that you get nice even coverage, don't hold it too close. Don't try to get one thick coat. Definitely want to go ahead and get two light coats if you need two coats at all. This 2 times coverage works so great you don't need a second coat at all. Make sure you get the bottom where the neck is and have no holidays. Now, this spray paint is so much better than the dollar store one. To be honest with you, the 97-cent spray paint from Walmart. It is a lot more money, but you have to use a lot less of it. So it truly ends up being a little bit better of a bargain. You don't have to give it 2 coats, and it's a time saver because you don't have to give it 2 coats. So we're going to mix this paint, and I'm sorry again about yesterday with the blue paint. It wasn't on there. But what I had here was the pink paint left over from the pink jar, which was true red mixed into white. And then what I went ahead and did is I slowly added in some navy. Again, you always want to add the dark color to the light base. And I mixed it until I found the shade that I wanted. Now, I decided that this purple, because it came out so much darker than the cap, was actually going to be the dark square. So that's why this is called reverse buffalo check. I know that that sounds weird, but normally when you do buffalo check DIYs, you put down the white coat and then you add the medium coat and then the dark one, but we're going to do the opposite here. We're going to put the dark base down first. We're going to consider that purple the dark base, and now we're trying to mix the medium purple so that we can just add somewhere between white and that dark base. And as you can see, I'm just tapping it on the jar, and because this spray paint is a really good quality spray paint, I'm able to just wipe it off without having any, any issues with the spray paint at all. Okay? And when you finally think you have your color mixed, and again, it's always best to go slow, add a little bit at a time. If I ended up making it a little bit too blue, I could always add a little bit more red. And if I ended up making it too blue and too red, dark purple, then you could always add a little white. But remember, you always want to try to add the dark to the light color. Normally that's how we want to go ahead and mix paint. It makes it much more economical. Now for this jar, we're going to go ahead and use our measuring device. We're going to draw our lines like we did for the second jar, where I think it was the yellow one actually we freehanded, where we're going to go ahead and I have balanced the ruler on the flat sides of the jar, and I've eyeballed the say the 10-inch measuring mark towards the bottom of the jar because it curves in, so you can't really get it on there. And then I've marked 1-inch increments up, and I've repeated that on all 4 sides. And then I've taken a pencil and I have used the bottom edge as a guide to go ahead and connect those whole lines to create all of the horizontal lines around the jar. Okay. And one of the other things I love about this quality of this spray paint is you see I'm erasing my mistakes, which is something you can't really do too well on chalk paint, mostly because it's porous. But anyway, just want to repeat with all of the lines. And for this one, like I mentioned before, we're actually keeping this purple as the dark shade. So these will be our dark squares. You could use this spray paint to do any of the other methods with the rubber band method or the tape off method, just be conscious of the fact that that's going to be your dark shade. If that is, you understand what I mean, I hope. Okay, I hope by now, after 5 jars, you guys know what I'm trying to say. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to also draw the vertical lines in. I've taken this fabric tape measure to hug around the circumference of the jar, and I'm marking 1-inch increments. If you can find the seam of the jar, that will help keep that line nice and even if you want to start there. But I'm just eyeballing it myself. All right. Now, one of the things, this is a tip, another tip. Hopefully I try to give you a new tip each time. This is a foam paintbrush from the set from the Dollar Tree. This is one of the smallest ones in there, and it's a little over an inch. So what I actually did was I measured it. It was about 1¼ inches wide, and because we're making 1-inch stripes, I went ahead and I trimmed off 1/4 inch of the foam brush on the edge. So this way we made an exactly 1-inch wide brush, and this will just make it that much easier to get consistency in our stripes and get clean edges. Okay, so this one is going super fast. The paint dried super fast. The drawing of the lines, everything on this jar was super quick, and I still feel like even though it's hand painting, we haven't taped off or rubber band off, I still think it gives a very neat finish, depending on how steady you can hold your hand. But when you can clean it off easy if you make any mistakes, because this is that great spray paint. Okay, that spot, which I have no idea where it even came from, which was around the back side of the jar, it just wipes off very easily. Just take a barely damp paper towel, and just make sure you move it around as you wipe. Okay, so basically, if you wipe it off one time, move the paper towel and get a clean spot before you wipe it off the second time. All right, and this chalk paint gives a nice clean finish. This spray paint is a satin finish, so it's not really matte, but it's not really gloss. It doesn't have too much of a shine, so it does add to a little bit of that rustic feel that we like. All right, and whether I started with the horizontal or vertical doesn't make a difference. You just want to do all of one, and then you can go ahead and connect it with the other. Okay. And what I like about this is when I've cut this paintbrush down, you can see how nice and even and straight edges the strokes are getting without very much effort. It just really is a nice, clean finish. All right, now I get to decide, do you want the bottom stripe, which is your next row that's going to be medium or white technically, because if the dark base is what we're leaving behind as the dark sections, then where do you want your white stripes? And most of the jars that we did in the series have the bottom stripe has white in it, so we'll just go with that. All right. So now, after we're done with all the horizontals and I say horizontal because when the jar is standing up, it's horizontal. When you're painting it, it's not. But once I'm done here with all the horizontals, then we can go ahead and paint in the white squares. And like I said in the previous tutorials, this chalk paint does dry so very quickly that you really don't have to wait very long before you can go ahead and put your white on. It's really kind of a remarkable thing, especially when you don't have a lot of time or a lot of patience. And we're just going to freehand in the squares. We're just going to connect the corners, and it's really easy with this 1-inch paintbrush now that we've cut it down to 1 inch. And I'm going to go ahead and mark, well, actually I did. I just didn't show you guys. I went ahead and I marked the handle 1 inch. So for the future, I know that this is just a 1-inch paintbrush that I've created. All right. Now, normally I will cut out a blank scene like this, and even though it's 2 times speed, I would cut out a blank scene like this because it's boring. But I wanted to show you guys literally how fast that paint dries. You could still see there are parts where it's still a little wet, but what I've done is I've turned it around to find the first stripes that we painted. And then you could see that they're dry already. It's kind of amazing. It really is. they would dry even faster. If I didn't make that whole horizontal line and I just connected the vertical lines, that would have dried even faster. But it's just easier to go ahead and connect all of the, to cross over all of the horizontal lines to make one giant line. And then I'm just taking, this is a Dollar Tree paintbrush. It's white bristles and it's like a flat edged paintbrush. And I like it because it also gives nice crisp, clean edges. I don't know why I didn't use the 1-inch paintbrush. I don't think I wanted to get up and paint and wash it. I know that sounds crazy because I'm lazy, but sometimes it's about being in the moment and not really about being lazy. It's just like you got momentum and you got your motivation going, so you just keep going. Now, I chose not to distress this jar yet for this tutorial, but I will tell you that I really do like the distressed look. I know it's not for everybody. I've read everybody's comments, and there is mostly just love, but some people are, they think it's too messy when you go ahead and distress. But I do like the distressed look. I do like the worn look. That is just the effect that I like in my farmhouse decor. Now, one thing, this is the last tutorial, so we will talk about it on this one, but one thing we never talk about and we never really have used is wax. There is furniture wax. It's sort of like butcher's wax that people use on their chalk paint to seal their chalk paint, but it also does give another dimension to aging of chalk paint. I don't like to age my homemade chalk paint with any of my other aging type of things, like with any whitewash or anything, because it's so porous. It definitely would require some finish coat on top of it before you went ahead and added any of the darkening agents or aging agents. Okay, I know that doesn't make, I don't know, that sounds silly, but there are lots of different products out there, and of course there are chalk paints that you can buy. I'm not trying to say that you have to make homemade chalk paint. It's just there for you guys, just to save you money wherever we can, as you know. All right, and how far up the neck you want to go is entirely up to you. If you want to finish those last, that stripe up the that column up the last bit. Don't forget, columns go up and down, rows go left and right. Thank you, Microsoft. And that's it. And that's it for this tutorial. I love the purple. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you do, give this video a thumbs up. If you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to share this video with friends and family so they can check out this tutorial or any in the series. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe. And when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. Don't forget to go over and stop by the vlog channel and say hi. Link in the description box down below. And as always, you take care, God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye.